When we say reversing age, what do we mean? It seems like there's two types of aging. Can you tell our listeners what are the two types and which one can you actually reverse and why would it matter for your health?
So there's chronological age, the birthdays we've celebrated, and we can't do anything about that. It's a number based on the amount of time we've been here. And it's a number whose time is going to end soon, I think, in terms of influence and, really caring about it. We're moving into this biological age. That is the rate that we're aging at. And that, again, is how well we're living our lives. We influence how well and how long we live by the choices that we're making every day. And this is called biological age. So aging is the biggest risk factor for chronic disease. I mean, that's really the bottom line. And more than chronic disease, it's the biggest risk factor for acute disease as well. As we age, our risk for developing those diseases just rises exponentially. It's a slippery slope to spending the final decades on the planet sick. None of us is not planning for their final 20 years to be really sick. That's not how we're hardwired to think at all. And yet that is the trajectory for us. That is what happens unless we very intentionally choose to live a different life. I mean, it's just extraordinary how clear it is. And along with the chronic diseases come polypharmacy. So, being reliant on multiple medications, being reliant on doctor visits, on specialized care, on hospitalizations, on skilled nursing facilities, and so forth. So then you can see that your final years of existence, not just influencing your quality of life, but your family. We don't have a good caregiver system, unless you're very well off. It's our families who carry the burden of having to care for the individual with these illnesses. It's so stressful and so painful. That's the journey. So what can we do now? Because the time is now to prepare. We really need to hardcore take responsibility for living our best lives now so that we can continue to do what it is that we want to do. It's a diet and lifestyle intervention. It's not plasma exchange. It's not stem cell treatments in Panama. It's down to earth. You can get it in the perimeter of any grocery. Now we can work with clinical labs that are available to us as doctors and labs that are actually available to the consumer as well. So somebody just wanting to do this on their own without a physician interface can in fact measure their biological age. And I will say, there's a lot of tests out there, and maybe I think are most reliable and most evidence-informed.
Let's dive into that, because I think a lot of folks think, well, I could never afford to figure out my biological age. I kind of see what people are doing in the media, and this is all people with tons of money, and it seems like their whole life is about reversing their age. What are we actually measuring with the tests you are using? Is it telomere length? What is it?
Well, it's looking at a suite of methylation sites. It's measuring a collection of one of the chief epigenetic marks, something called DNA methylation. There's about 30 million of them on our total genome. There's a ton of these methyl groups. It's a carbon and 3 hydrogens, and they sit at specific points on the base pairs of our DNA. And the pace of aging, the clock that I'm using, and really most of the clocks today are using some kind of a collection of these methylation sites. When we were conducting our study, we paid about $1,200 per test. That test today, I think, is $200. So it's massively dropped in spend. And it's really the best one available currently.
That's awesome. We're going to dig more into the science of measuring. And also you've developed some surveys that people can take for free. You've helped people kind of develop tools with just a survey or some regular blood work where they could start to guess where they're at.
Because it is what's kind of special about this intervention. It's doable. Yeah, we have a BioAge quiz on our website. I think if you just put in Dr. Kara Fitzgerald BioAge quiz, it'll take you there. And that's just a collection of questions that we've given each a weight to. And depending on your answers, at the end, we will give you an age estimate. And it's not a validated test. It's based on our best read on the literature.